one hand grinder, 2 sets of burrs. Is this the ideal solution to get the best out of hand grinding for both espresso and filter coffee? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and this review is slightly different in the sense that this grinder is not mine. CafeSing reached out to me and asked if I wanted the grinder to look at and possibly review. I jumped on their Instagram, found it interesting that it was a Flat Burr hand grinder with 2 sets of burrs, so gave them our postal address and here we are. But I actually don't do sponsor reviews, so although this grinder came for free, the thoughts on this video are simply mine. Before we dive into this grinder and see what makes it different, if you're liking the content so far, please like and subscribe. It really helps us grow the channel and deliver even more reviews. Now, let's dive into it and see what makes it different. As I may have alluded to, the unique thing at the CafeSing Orca is that it's running flat burrs. Most hand grinders are running conical burrs, so the flat burrs is a little bit more unique. But in this grinder, not only is it running flat burrs, but it's running 2 sets of burrs. One for espresso and one for filter coffee. Now these burrs are 49mm in external diameter and have a very small internal diameter. So they have a really large surface area. With the espresso burr being very traditional in shape and the filter burr being a ghost burr. So you get very even particle size distribution on your larger, coarser grind. These burrs are replaceable without any tools because they actually come with the burr carrier and the orb. So basically you can change out these burrs without any tools quite easily, and that's what makes this grinder unique. When it comes to dialing in this grinder, you're actually dialing in from the outside, which makes it quite easy. And with each movement representing 18 microns. So the same kind of vertical movement that you get on the Brasa Encore ESP. So you definitely have that minute range available so you can dial in espresso quite easily. If you wanted to run this grinder more like an electric grinder, and you did have a spare drill lying around at about 1000 RPM, you can pull this out, get a socket in, and run this as an electric grinder. Now, I don't see how often people will be doing this, but it is a feature. Currently, we have the espresso burrs in here. So what I was thinking, we pull a shot, see what it's like to do espresso, change out the burr carrier to the ghost burrs, do a filter coffee, and see how this grinder compares in both espresso and filter. Just grinding out some coffee for espresso, see how this grinder performs. One cool thing is about this grinder, it actually fits the dosing cup into a 58mm portafilter. So just dropping that in, just locking that in. The espresso is nice, it's got a nice sweetness, a chocolate undertone. Like, to be honest, it's nicer than I thought it was gonna be for small 49mm flat burrs. I like it. Now we're just gonna move this from espresso over to the ghost burrs, and it's quite simple. Just opening here, basically the grounds catcher comes out. Over here, you just go looser. Now, on most grinders, this here is an adjustment dial, but on this grinder, it's just a lock nut. All your adjustments done up here. So effectively, you're just disconnecting this burr and burr carrier. The whole unit, you got the plate here which secures it. The whole unit comes out. Keep that spring. And now we're actually on a reverse thread. So just pull that out here. Effectively now, you're replacing the whole unit. So this here has your top ghost burr. Now it's on reverse thread, so it always just confuses my mind a little bit. The spring goes back in. Now you're putting the ghost burr in like this. Now once you've got it in, on this plate, you're just aligning that plate with that. And once you push it down, once again, just putting this lock nut in. Now you're securing it all the way, and once you get to all the way, you just pull it back 2 notches. So we're just gonna get this fully tight. And then 1, 2. Connect this all back up. And we're ready to now do our filter coffee. Just grinding out with the Ghost burrs now to get some filter coffee going. Really nice, consistent grind. I feel like that's where this grinder will really win, will be on the filter side of things. For a coarser coffee, it's very, very consistent. Taking our time, doing the filter coffee. Should be done in a few minutes. Let's see how this goes. I like it. Super clean, light and airy, not too textured or complex. I really do feel that that's where this grinder shines, is on the filter side of coffee with these Ghost burrs. Yeah. I don't like mentioning price as it varies between markets and currencies. But looking at its price point, it really sits up there with the Commandant and Timor Chestnut X. Now, I feel like the Commandant and the Timor Chestnut X really have a beautiful quality. There's something designer and really put together about them. This grinder, on the other hand, doesn't win in that aspect. Well, what makes it quite unique is having those Ghost burrs inside a hand grinder. And the coffee the Ghost burrs are producing really is something nice. Now, it has the ability, with some work, to swap out the burrs and do espresso. So going from filter to espresso is not the world's easiest task, although it's possible. But yet I do feel that's where this grinder shines. The ability to have that Ghost burrs, but then still be able to do espresso. And talking to the crew at CafeSing, they basically said that the world is full of compromises. If you want Ghost burrs and to have a grinder that does both espresso and filter, well, you really need to be compromising somewhere. In this case, changing out those burrs without tools. But I'd like to know, what are your thoughts? What do you think of a grinder that comes with 2 burrs that are interchangeable? Yay or nay? Let me know in the comments below. And like always, if this video has brought you value, hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Thank you, and see you on the next video.